How are you feeling? You got John Riggs here, and no company exudes mediocrity than Acclaim for the NES. I know that sounds pretty harsh, right? Acclaim was that company that had a little bit of everything for a little bit of everyone. They had movie licensing, they had TV show licensing, they had shooters, they had platformers, they had arcade ports, they had a lot with Acclaim. 28 games total for the NES, according to NESguide.com. So we're going to cover all 28 Acclaim games in this video. I'm going to rank them along the way, and if you want to rank them with me, I have that link in the description below. And if you're new to the channel, thank you so much for watching, and thank you for subscribing. I do at least 2 videos a week. There's always something new coming up. I'm a huge old school gamer. The new games are cool too, and you might see some of those every once in a while, but man, retro is where it is. Starting off with 3D World Runner, one of the few NES games that utilize the 3D glasses. And you don't need the 3D glasses to play this game. In fact, it probably plays better without them. A lot of people call this game like the NES version of Space Harrier. It's not very much like Space Harrier. It's just you run and then you jump over these, pitfalls and stuff like that. So that's all you do. It looks cool though. It has that Space Harrier look on the ground. I'll give it that. But this game is its own thing, and you just run and you jump over things, and it was cool to see for its time. It looked visually pleasing, especially when it first came out. I'm putting this game as a C. We have Airwolf, which was based on the hit TV show of the 80s, based on this helicopter called Airwolf, I guess. I know, oddly enough, I didn't watch a lot of the macho 80s shows, but I was very familiar with this show just because it was everywhere. And this game features a couple different gameplay elements. You have that first-person perspective like a Top Gun where you're shooting the other enemies. And then you can also, rescue people and stuff like that too, so it goes to like a different side view. It's okay. It's a C. Arch Rivals was cool because it was a basketball game with a punch button. I mean, what's not to love? Yeah, they call it Basket Brawl, I guess. But this one, I liked this one pretty well. I mean, again, I'm not the biggest fan of basketball games, but because it has a little attack element to it, I had to check it out. And it plays like an okay basketball game. It's a little bit lenient on the shots, like if you do if you shoot from too far away or the slam dunk type stuff. I think it favors in your case for the most part, but the fun of it is if someone has the ball, you can punch them and steal the ball from them. And that's totally allowed in this game in Arch Rivals. I'm giving Arch Rivals a B. What about Bigfoot? Bigfoot, if you're not from the generation, Bigfoot was as much of a celebrity in the 80s as like Hulk Hogan or Madonna. I mean, Bigfoot was a celebrity just by being a monster truck. It was insane. You'd have like the Bigfoot, trapper keepers and Bigfoot, sweaters and stuff like that. It was crazy. And they had a Bigfoot NES game, which featured a lot of different gameplay elements for racing, for mountain climbing and stuff like that. My hometown of Yakima, Washington was actually a level in this game, so shout out to Yakima for that. But still, it plays just kind of awkward and weird, and it's kind of fun to check out. The controls are different for the different levels, so sometimes if you don't know what you're doing, it's hard to just pick up and play because you need that manual to tell you how to do each level. I'm putting this game as a C. Cybernoid feels like an early NES homebrew. I don't know what's with it. And I can't explain it either. I don't know. I can't place my finger on what it is about Cybernoid. Not that it's a terrible game. I'm putting it as a D, so it sounds like it's a terrible game. It just feels like it's still like a work in progress or something. I can't explain it. I don't because like I don't know. You find out and you tell me, please. Maybe because you're like flying in space, but there's not really like gravity or momentum or something. I don't know. I mean, again, like I said, you tell me. Destination Earthstar is a game I have no clue what I'm doing. I know where to fly around, and I can see things on the map, and I can go there. And what am I supposed to do? I'm sure the person who designed this game knew what they were doing. Only I don't. So I'm giving Destination Earthstar an F. It's just too confusing for me. Double Dragon 2, a port of the arcade game of Double Dragon 2. In my personal opinion, the second one. I have more nostalgia for the first one, but the second one is the best of the 3 Double Dragon games. It was a little confusing for me at first because you have your A and B buttons, and one button is to punch and kick to the left, and one button is punch and kick to the right. Okay, but once you figure that out, then you're fine. And you hit both buttons to jump, and then again to kick, or that shining knee. If you can time it just right, like right when you land and you hit both buttons, you'll do that kind of like that V-trigger knee to the face of your opponents, and that's always kind of cool. Double Dragon 2 is great. I'm giving Double Dragon 2 an A. And then there's Double Dragon 3, which I try to get into every so often. And the NES version is different from the arcade version, but this one's kind of cool because you can pick up new characters along the way that you can play as. And they have their own little quirks and their own abilities and their own fighting styles and all that. Not that I can't get into it, I just can't do anything with it. Like, it's still like yay, there's new stuff, but it's missing something, and it's missing that Double Dragon charm. I don't know what it is. I'm putting this one as a C. It plays really well, and the first stage street music or whatever is one of my favorite NES songs, but it's still missing something. It's a C for me. Ferrari Grand Prix Challenge is a Ferrari racing game, but it doesn't seem like you drive as fast as a Ferrari, or if that even makes sense. It does it's a driving game, it's a racing game, and it's one of these style of racing games, but it seems like it could have been any racing game. I don't know. It's not for me. I'm putting it as a D. Sorry. George Foreman's KO Boxing. You look at the back of the box, you know George Foreman. He was a popular name even back in those days. This is before he had the grill and all that. He was 43 years old when this game came out. And it looks like Mike Tyson's Punch-Out. It is not Mike Tyson's Punch-Out. It doesn't play like Mike Tyson's Punch-Out. Yes, you throw your punches and hooks and dodges, whatever, but the strategy is just you hit them before they hit you, and there's no Mike Tyson's Punch-Out element to it, if you know what I mean. It's not a great boxing game. I'm putting this one as a D. We have Knight Rider, which does not feature the Knight Rider theme. Why would you even bother making a Knight Rider game if you don't have that awesome theme music to it? Well, they did anyway, and it's a driving game that you can also jump, and you can shoot. And it's a little weird, but I'm sure it's for someone. I didn't care for it so much, but it does control okay. I'm putting this one as a C. Acclaim had the Simpsons license, and there's a few Simpsons games. The first one we're going to talk about is Krusty's Funhouse. I like games like this. If you like Lemmings, I think you're going to like Krusty's Funhouse. You control the Krusty the Clown, and you have to find the little, the things that you need, the items like the blocks and the springs and whatnot, to make it so the rats who are always moving, the mice who are always moving, will get to the end destination. I like this one quite a bit. I'm putting this one as a B. Good old Narc. The say no to drugs. Drugs are bad, but if you want to blow up people with a rocket launcher, that's A-okay. Thank you, Nancy Reagan. This is the game. It took me much later in life, I'm talking about literally a few years ago, to realize, I don't actually have to kill the enemies. I can just arrest them all. You don't have to shoot anyone. Well, maybe later on, I don't know. I might have to see if I can go through this game without shooting anyone if I can. But you can either walk up to them and arrest them, or you can shoot them, and that's when you get the money, you get the paraphernalia, you're just going through, and there's different types of drug addicts at every level. And again, like I said, when in doubt, use a rocket launcher, you can blow everyone up. The arcade game is great. They did the best they could with the NES version, because the arcade game had 4 different buttons. This one only has 2, so you either have to long press or tap it for different weapons. I'm putting this one as a B. It's still a fun game and great on 2-player. Othello is an F. Not that because it's a terrible game. It's just, that's the only game on there. I mean, I understand making a battle chess game or something like that. There's more than just chess. But Othello, for as simple as it is, they could have loaded it up with other games like this or something. But no, it's just you buy it and it's just Othello. That's all it is. And it's an F. Rambo is another one of those games I have a soft spot in my heart for. It plays like Metroidvania, back before there was a Metroidvania genre. I don't know, maybe I wouldn't really consider it Metroidvania, because you do go through, you can choose which path you want to go through. Maybe it is, I don't know. Is it Metroidvania? You tell me. But it's called Rambo. It's the story of Rambo 2. As far as the movies go, and you gain levels, and you get items, and you can, travel your own path to get to where you need to go. The graphics are kind of simplistic for its time, but it's still, to me, a really fun game. It was like super, super common back in the day. I was like, oh, here's Rambo again. It's like, actually, I like Rambo. It's okay. For myself personally, I'd probably put it as an A. I'll put Rambo as a B though. That's safe. Then we have the Simpsons games, and I was so excited for there to be Simpsons-based video games. Great, here's this, here's a cast of characters I already know. The graphics look, they're okay for Nintendo standards, I guess. But Bart Simpson versus the Space Mutants, which has that they live element where you put on the sunglasses, you can tell who the aliens are. This game is shockingly difficult, and not by the matter of just having a higher difficulty level. It's the fact that the run button is the jump button. So you have to jump and get that over with, and then hold the A button to run. And then when you want to jump again, you have to let go and hit jump again. And that shouldn't be that should be criminally illegal for any NES game to feature that. And maybe they did that because your B button is like to use your spray paint to change the color of things, or that's also your items button. I'm not sure, but if anything, one of your items should have been, shoes to do your run button or something like that. I don't know. Not a good look for this game. If it didn't have that, it'd probably rank higher. I'd probably like it more. It's still kind of playable and still kind of fun to check out, because it has that Simpsons, they have a lot of Simpsons references in there. If you love the Simpsons, you'll catch a lot of the references. I'm putting it as a D. It's almost an F, but, I still come back to it every once in a while just to remind myself. It's a D. And Bart Simpson versus the World, same idea, same controls, more of the same. It's also a D. And then we have Bartman and Radioactive Man. Which plays better? This one actually has like a punching kick button and stuff like that too. It actually has an attack button along with your jump button. So that one makes it a little bit better, and it's, it's okay. I'll put this one as a C. How about that? I'm putting this one as a C. Smash TV, great in the arcade, twin stick shooter that came out for the NES. I'm like, what are you gonna do here? This is gonna be like Akari Warriors all over again, where it's like you have to shoot the direction you're facing. Not exactly. They actually were smart enough to think about it and said, hey, you can actually play this game single player with 2 controllers. So one D-pad is you're walking around, the other D-pad is your gun to fire. And I thought that was a brilliant idea. Smash TV, it's a lot of fun in the arcade. The Nintendo version is actually pretty decent too. I'm putting this one as a B. Now the Smash TV for like the Super Nintendo, because they came out about the same time, maybe the same time, is better, but the NES version plays pretty decently too. Star Voyager, like Destination Earthstar earlier in this video, space shooter, don't have a clue what I'm doing. Not gonna get into it, it's an F. If you like Star Voyager, you let me know what I'm doing wrong, and I'll give it another shot. Swords and Serpents. This game came out of nowhere for me. I was just like, this is different. This is okay. It's a dungeon crawler, quite literally. You're crawling through a dungeon. Well, not literally crawling, but you're walking through a dungeon and all of that. You can build your own team or use a default one if you'd like, but it's fun to build your own and kind of roll the dice and get your stats and all that. And then you run into enemies that have a cool look to them, and you just tap your button to attack, or if they use magic, then you push your magic button and choose from there. This game has a lot going on for itself if you like this style of game. I don't necessarily care for this style of game, but I like this game. There's something about this game, I don't know, I'm not sure what it is, but I kind of got sucked into it, and as if I was there, crawling around in these dungeons with this party, and I was just looking for the cool enemies. I thought it looked great. I'm putting this game as a B. Tiger Heli, another great shooter for the NES. Great in the arcade, but not so much on the NES. It's missing something. It's as if somebody said, "Oh my goodness, we have to put this game on the NES before Christmas. You have 2 days to do it." And it controls better than that. It plays better than that. I'm giving it a hard time. I think it's because I loved the arcade version of Tiger Heli, and then the NES version just kind of let me down. And I was like, man, what are you gonna do? I'm putting this game as a D. I'm sure it's better than that, but compared to the arcade version, come on now. Total Recall with Arnold Schwarzenegger. Great movie. The NES version, I liked it okay. It was one of those, it was the perfect rental, you know. It was, so many of these games from Acclaim are great rentals. And this was one of those games. It's like, okay, you know, I get it. It's Arnold Schwarzenegger, and you go through, and you gotta go through the story. A little bit of Total Recall, not exactly the same. It doesn't have the lady. You know, I don't even need to tell you any more than that than the lady. But it's it's Acclaim. It's Total Recall. It's a C. Winter Games, oddly enough, I actually kind of liked kind of. It only featured a few different modes, a few different things you could play as. But like, you know, the skiing, there was the bobsledding. I mean, it was kind of worth a playthrough. This was back when these games looked like this, and it was an okay port for the NES. I'm putting this one as a D. I loved Wizards and Warriors. I don't know what it was. I think I liked just the huge levels, you know, gigantic levels that you can kind of explore, and you find a key, and then that key opens up that certain door or there's certain treasure chests, and you gotta get all the jewels. I like that there was that much going on for it. You can pick up your upgrades too, like, you know, you can throw knives and throw axes, and you can kind of levitate or float and stuff like that. That just had a bunch going on for itself. And I like any game that features that map at the beginning of the game that tells you where you are in the game. This game features unlimited continues, so you can beat it the first time you play it if you want, if you have the time. You can just keep continuing, keep playing, you know, restart. You always start where you were, so no problem there. I like this game, and it's just, I liked it, like the music. I don't know. It's one of those games that has a soft spot in my heart for it. I'm putting this one as a B. We gotta talk about Iron Sword, right? Wizards and Warriors 2. With Fabio on the cover, come on now. This game was also excellent. This game took what I loved about Wizards and Warriors and added an element of having like elemental bosses, where you can also shoot magic. You do have to collect your magic to use it, so that was the biggest pain in this game. It's finding where all the little magical spots were. You can get that filled up. But Iron Sword, Wizards and Warriors 2, if you happen to see this for cheap, no, I think it's worth checking out, and the animation on it's great too. I think it's because it's probably I think it's from Rare, so it just has excellent animation, especially like the birds flapping and all that. It's cool. I like this one. And Wizards and Warriors 3 takes a step back, where the graphics don't look as clean as they used to. Doesn't play as well. They're trying too hard, I think, on this one, and I just didn't care for it. I'll put it as a C. There's more to it than that. Maybe it's because I'm trying to compare it to Wizards and Warriors 1 and 2, which I shouldn't. It should be its own game. It's still, yeah, it's a C. And then we have WWF WrestleMania that features the huge roster of like, what, 6? There's like Hogan, Macho Man, Andre, Honky Tonk Man, Ted DiBiase, but it had Bam Bam Bigelow, who I loved, and does the cartwheel in this game as an attack. Now, back in the day, Bam Bam Bigelow would do a cartwheel just for fun, you know, but he uses that as an attack in this game. Not a great wrestling game. Like, it's mostly a punch and kick kind of thing, and only a couple of the guys can do body slams, not very many of them. Only a couple of them can jump off the top rope, not many of them. But it was the only wrestling game we had, and it was WWF, so we all played it, and it's not great, and it's actually very, very terrible. Is it an F, though? Do I dare? Yeah, it's an F. I mean, I'm not gonna lie about it. It's an F. It's worth looking at just to see, but no. And am I wrong about any of these games on my list? Will you let me know in the comments? I thank you so much for watching. I always love doing videos like this. So what other companies am I missing out on? You let me know in the comments. I'll do some more coming up very, very soon. Make sure you're subscribed, and I'll see you next time.